Hello and welcome to the Dale and Mike Show. Tonight, brought to you by Charter's Little Liver Pills. Hello, Mike.
Are you having a problem with your liver there, Dale?
You know, one of the sayings for Carter's Little Liver Pills was, "Don't persecute your bowels."
Whew, man.
Well, there's a modern television ad for you.
Yes, don't persecute your bowels. What's the connection to liver for there? I mean,
got me, buddy.
Bile is made by the liver, and so therefore,
what's the crow about? Because people would crow when they had a bowel movement. I don't know.
Yes, is that what they're for?
I think it would stop things like constipation and any results of watching this show. I don't know. It's weird, but it was very popular in the 20s and 30s.
But Dale has to struggle to come up with something to put Charter in.
I don't have to struggle.
So now we're at Charter persecuting your...
Well, it doesn't say that on this one, but it says on some of their others.
Yes. Huh.
I've
they
touched the liver.
Yes, and this is before preps for colonoscopies came along, because that is just straight purging your bowels, and that you do with stuff from a little bottle there too.
Oh, we need to know how to do that in county politics.
Oh, listen, yes,
bowels around here, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you, my wife cannot stand it. If I start talking about this, she leaves the room, because let me tell you something. If you haven't had a colonoscopy, one of the worst things about it, the colonoscopy is nothing. You sleep through it. You wake up, hi, how you doing? You're feeling great. But it's the prep. Because you got to blow everything out of there. And let me tell you, by the time you're done purging, you're purging the purgings, and you're getting, everything's coming out of there.
Well, isn't there something that you can do so that you can arrange to do that in your sleep too?
Oh, you don't want that happening in your sleep.
Babies do.
Yes, they do. But no, you don't want that happening in your sleep. That's bad.
Boy, we just give you all the news here on our show. Okay, all right. So one of the things we're going to...
I've got pictures somewhere if you guys want to see.
Well, you showed them on the show.
That's the after. That's stage 2.
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to see
purge is stage 1.
The fact that you shot videotape during the preparation, no, thanks. No,
sound effects too.
No, I think we'll pass on. We'll pass on that one too. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So speaking of that kind of stuff, anyway, we heard some recent stuff from Cheryl Walker. She just came up with the most brilliant plan you can think of. And wait till you see this, everybody. Now, we posted this as a separate video, so you can go see for yourself. But now, in order to hear this, I was going to say you have to hear this. Sometimes the audio from the commissioners in the little back room is less than stellar. And we have suggested that we could just put a tiny little... No, I'm not going to allow you to put a tiny little microphone there, because then you can clearly hear what we're saying. And I don't want... Whatever. Okay, we're going to fix this problem. You see, we're going to fix this problem. But here is a chance for you to see, and we'll get to Wally later. He looks astonished. You're going to get to me later. Yes, we are, Wally. But for right now, take a look at what Cheryl Walker has to say about our upcoming Independence Day. We're going to be independent, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay.
Do you guys have anything else?
No, I just had this addition on here about the fireworks in the county.
Do you want to?
Well, I was thinking we've declared a drought. We've had a lot of grass fires, and we may want to just say no fireworks this year.
I wouldn't mind.
Other than the supervised one.
From an enforcement standpoint, I'm like,
that's the key.
We can say there's a moratorium on marijuana dispensaries. But I don't want people running around saying, no, you can't have fireworks. Good luck with that. What are you going to do?
Well, and that's a problem to me.
Well, that's why one of the discussion is, do we want to do anything about it? Because the fire season, we've declared a drought.
It almost seems irresponsible not to at least issue some sort of a warning. Let's limit it to places where, to the fairgrounds. It's safe. It's by
I think an admonition in a positive way of encouraging people to be doubly conscious of this whole situation because of the drought, because of all this other stuff. But to say we're going to, no fireworks
There is
in
no
town.
fireworks at Lake Selmac that they don't have the staff to enforce.
Yes, yeah, it's just
People show up every year and there's fireworks,
That's right.
but I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, to keep it from that.
I mean, to me, it's just like, stirring up a nature's hornet's nest. Encouraging people to do what is the best thing to do, I think is the best way to go about it.
Some sort of a press release about
Yeah.
being responsible.
Yeah.
And you could be held completely liable. If they can find out it was you who did it, like starting any other fire, you're on the hook. So be aware of that.
Again, hard time. How do you know it was my firework? Yeah. I'm just saying, that
It's
kind of.
amazing how they go back and say, because this tree where the lightning struck that started it all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Government-sanctioned fireworks only. This is she's everyone's least favorite grandmother.
Yes.
What is she thinking?
We can't be having any fun. I just like to know, as Dale and I were talking about it before the show, we talked before the show.
And a quorum.
In a quorum, yes, it was yes. So I'm wondering, in the past 15, 20 years, how many forest fires around here were started by the use of fireworks?
How would you enforce this, and why would you suggest something? It's not this Saturday, it's next Saturday. That's a little too close to the event. They've already got the fireworks stands all over the place.
Right.
And who do these people think that they are? Really, who do they think? Well, we've been right so many times in the past. No, you haven't. If you can come up with one or two good decisions you made, maybe people will listen to you about how they should run their lives. Other than that, I think you ought to just sit there and keep quiet.
Well, I moved here from California, and my county banned fun a long time ago. No fireworks. Of course, they go off everywhere. Every 4th of July, they're still going off everywhere. But they banned them in the county. You can't buy them anywhere.
Where I used to live
county.
here in the county, I would invite people to come over. There was a big parking lot near where I lived, and everybody would come to the parking lot because it's a parking lot, right? And the cars were all moved back, and then I'd sit there with a little bucket, to Mr. Safety, and as soon as dump it in the bucket, of water, and everybody had a wonderful time, and they were going to set the whole place on fire. These guys really think that with their record of success, their string of successes, the Hindenburg, crashing and burning, that these guys, that Cheryl was going to suggest to people here at the last minute that they can't have any fireworks unless the county is there to supervise you. Wait, might as well say, well, don't put up flags because you could poke yourself in the eye. Look, Cheryl, we don't need your help. Brother, what happened to the concept of personal responsibility? Yes, it's possible. But, summers, I don't know, just me, summers have this tendency to be a couple things, hot and dry. And then the 4th of July happens. Now, how have we existed up to this point without Cheryl Walker telling us, I think it's a good idea if we cancel the 4th of July.
Listen, brother. We made it by the skin of our teeth. That's all there is to it. Yes.
How did we do it without her?
Yes, we could have simulated sparklers, that, put out fake sparks.
Wheels. Yeah, right. I remember when Chuck Lotterette, who is a fireworks safety guy, when he suggested the Lions Club, instead of having the 4th of July fireworks, that they were going to have a mural on a wall. And he said, the kids will enjoy this even more than fireworks. What? Yes, everyone will enjoy this mural and it was awful. It was awful. They had to get it off of there because it was that bad. This is getting it off of there. It was horrible. But the idea, well, people will like this just as much as fireworks. Are you crazy? Chuck, really? Yes. You're crazy.
There's a reason why that if something else hasn't replaced fireworks is because nothing else is quite as good as fireworks. Listen, fireworks are fun, okay? And if done safely and, not by drunk people, then they're okay.
Well, that leaves out
You know?
Simon. Just forget it, Simon. He even said in this video, well, I go along with it. You go along with that? What, are you crazy? Here in Josephine County? You'd be lucky if they didn't pull you out of that place and set you on fire. We're nutty. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so now we've got a second video from that same meeting. It's just as insane in another way. And this is about fees. They've decided, it used to be that once a year, the county commissioners would get together and then all the department heads, I need higher fees. We need to, it's a fee is a tax. And as this guy right here pointed out, even Salem doesn't know there's a difference between a fee and a tax. So we need to raise the taxes on people. We need to raise their fees. And instead of doing it once a year, they now do it twice a year. Hey. Because, you really need to raise the fees on it. Here is the discussion among the commissioners talking about the upcoming season. And it's only twice a year so far. Wait till it's 4 times a year. See, we'll get them out of there before then. Just don't worry. We're getting them out of there. We got a plan. Even Mike and I have a plan of how to get them out of there. And it involves a cattle Oh, don't tell anybody, Mike.
No, okay. it involves fireworks in a manner of speaking.
But not pointed straight up as more. Okay, all right. So here is their discussion, just Keith and Cheryl and our wonderful finance director, and they're talking about raising fees.
There's only 3 fees on it. So
no, there's several.
Some are the increases I have.
Yeah. We have
several.
Yeah.
Where's the
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 departments. That
6 is several?
Increases.
Okay, because I only saw the one from the assessor then.
Okay. Yeah, on my cover
there's
sheet,
only 3.
No.
Which I believe is
on
a
my
few.
cover sheet, you'll see the 6 departments named.
Animal shelter, assessor, community corrections, DA, juvenile justice, and treasurer.
Yeah.
Right.
No, the spreadsheet for assessor was the only one that I see.
Really?
So I'm not saying that's the
I
only
know
one.
you turned them all in.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't go down far enough.
Okay.
I mean, okay, that's fine. We can talk about it another time, I guess.
Yeah, take your time.
None of them are substantial in the sense of going from receive and review application is $43 now, and it's going up to $200. And I mean, that's
nothing outrageous.
Yeah.
They're all, theoretically, the fees are all simply to reimburse existing costs, not to make profits.
Well, I mean, we can't make a profit.
Right.
I mean, it has to be for the services that are rendered. You can't make a profit on it. But, there is always the misunderstanding that's possible, and just want to make sure that people understand that it's not.
Right.
Gotcha.
Okay. Anything else on that? Okay.
There's a way around this this issue with raising fees. Well, we can't make a profit on it. Yes, but you can just raise everybody's salaries and say that we need a higher fee to cover that. It still amounts to the same thing.
The thing that gets me on this, did you hear what Arthur O'Hare, the finance director, said? Got to say goodbye to this guy, really. This is important. So Keith is saying, well, it's not like it's substantial or anything. I mean, here's this one. It says 43, and it's going to raise up to 200. Yeah, that's not substantial.
Yes. In what world?
Was that again?
Well, you know what? When my property values start going back up again, then I'll think, okay, yeah, these guys might need some more money because, other things are going up. But for crying out loud, if they're raising something from the mid 40s up to a $200 fee, what has happened in the economy that justifies that?
And then the other thing is, what the heck kind of mathematician is this? He's the closest thing that they have in this county to a mathematician. And he looks at a fee, a tax of 43. And it goes up to 200, and he's saying, well, that's nothing. He actually said that's nothing. That's nothing, Arthur O'Hare? 43.
What would something look like? You know, would that be, oh, well, it's 43 now, but we're going to raise it to 2000. I mean, is that something?
No,
Is it?
probably not.
Yes.
Wait,
I mean, because if raising it up to 200 is nothing, then statistically, taking it to 2000 wouldn't really be much of anything.
now, Mike, let's imagine that you're a county commissioner, okay? And then Arthur O'Hare or somebody like him comes in and he says, well, Mr. Jones, we're going to raise this fee from, I don't care what the fee is, we're going to raise it from 43 to 200. Do you agree with me, Mr. Jones, that that's nothing?
Yes, I do. I do. It's nothing. The
No.
people should just eat cake.
Now, you hold him while I call the guys in the white suits to come
maybe
and
they'll
take
give him
this
some
guy.
Charter's liver pills.
Oh,
And that'll fix his problem.
43 to 200 is nothing. Yeah. This is the seat of our problem in this county. We've got people who feel that to tax you from 43 to 200 in just this is every 6 months. And to do that is nothing. Okay, we need to get people in there.
Dale and I also had another conversation on the phone long before the show took place. And I was talking about how I remember as a kid going to school that if you went on a field trip, everything was paid for. They never hit you up for extra school supplies. All that stuff was supplied to you in schools. And, this is back in the late 60s, early 70s. And so how is it now when we pay so much more in taxes and people's incomes are higher and all of that? How come it is now that they don't have money for anything? Everything is at bare bones levels and we're just barely getting by. We can't get anything done. Could it be maybe somehow that government is spending too much of the money that they take in on who knows what?
Let's take them on their word. It's a bad idea, but let's take them on their word. And that the literal cost, I don't believe this, but we'll just pretend for a moment, okay? That the literal cost of doing that, whatever, has gone from exactly 43 to this exact number, it doesn't sound exact, of 200.
Yeah.
What the heck's going on in that department that now cost them what used to cost 43 and now it costs 200 to do it?
It's an excellent question. And I wonder what that cost in 1975 or something. They probably didn't have it in 1975. But what I'm saying is I think that what we pay to government, whether it's fees, taxes, you name it, is proportionally much, much higher than it was. I remember my neighbor down the street. We're always talking about how, he started out as a butcher in the early 60s, and he was a butcher all the way up until probably 2000 something. Anyway, he was saying back then he was making fat money. His wife didn't have to work. He felt like he had plenty of money coming in. His mortgage payment was like $150 a month. All of these things were a whole lot better then. You had and he could put money in savings without issue every month. And yet now, they have discovered methods of extracting a little bit more of our money out of us until we're barely getting by. And that's really where they like us. And they keep trying to test that level all the time to make sure we're really in poverty or whatever. It's
talk about
sick.
Runaway spending. These tax and spend Republicans. Really? I didn't even think such a thing existed. It didn't used to exist as far as I know, except maybe for military budgets.
This county exists.
But this is a place where the spending is getting so outrageous that it used to cost, just taking them at their word, $43 to do something, and it now costs the county $200, and it's raising up twice a year. What the heck kind of management is this?
Yeah, I really
we need to get a handle on this.
Well, right, and here's the basis of the whole thing. Government has a constituency, but it's not you and me. It's them. It's their own little club. It is government itself is their constituency. That's they don't care what you think. They just want you to pay more money because our constituency, being this little clique of government, needs more money to operate. That's all they care about.
Well, there can be plenty of people, maybe not those of you watching the show right now, but there might be plenty. Well, Dale and Mike, you don't understand that we need government, especially to stop us from setting ourselves on fire during the 4th of July. And
Okay.
Uncle Sam needs to come in and save us from ourselves because of our stellar track record as government. And we need to have such services. And of course, you pay more. But even those who believe that the government's always right, or basically right, or you should only say positive things at a meeting, only positive now. That's what Pat Bath said from the Democrat Party. Only positive. These meetings are for positive statements. Okay, you really believe that things are under control when they go from costing $43 up to $200? Something's out of whack there, you guys.
Yes, of course. There is something out of whack. And the question is, when is it okay to stop taking care of somebody? And that's all the way from the point where they think they need to take care of you. That's one element of it. And then it's, well, I need to be taken care of in this particular way. I need this much salary, this much benefits, and, we need to have coffee for everybody in the office and donuts and whatever else it is. You know that government spends way too much of your money, and you could get the services that we need. We can even get some of the services that we want for a hell of a lot less money than it costs us right now. But we're apathetic, and we allow these people to continue to run over the top of us, and we don't have to do that. I mean, this is so easy. All we have to do is get a little bit more engaged and say, no, you're not going to do that. Go back to the drawing board and come back with reality. You know that when you give your kids a plan, say, write me out a little plan that says how much money that you need to get by this month, what your allowance needs to be. He's going to come to you with his fantasy, and then you're going to have to pare it down to size a little bit. And these people, what do you think? Do you not think that they're putting their fantasies down on paper?
No, when you say pare it down, they start squawking. Oh, well, there's a joke
not
there somewhere.
Yes.
Parrot, squawking. Never mind.
P-A-I-R, pair. Yes.
Okay. All right. Woo. Okay. All right. It's, by the way, it's P-A-R-E. If you're going to pare it down, you're cutting it down. Yeah, whatever. Okay. So, so we had a chance.
I'm usually a grammar Nazi. Thank you very much for that. P-A-R-E.
We had a chance to talk about fees with Wally Hicks. And Wally, what's, in your opinion, the most important thing that we all need to know about the charter? Because that's what we do on Sundays, is we talk about the charter and we try to make some kind of sense out of it so that everybody, as Mike pointed out a while back, he says, if you're going to be a county commissioner, you better know the charter chapter and verse. And it's very helpful, in my opinion, if you're a citizen here and you think the charter is going to protect you, to do the same thing, to understand a little bit more about the charter and how it affects us. Well, Wally pointed out, in the first half of two halves, there's two halves in the whole, that we got into this mess that we're in. I think it's a mess with the charter and with the fees, because our previous legal counsel, Steve Rich, actually went to court against the people. He's elected. And he went to court against the people during his 20 years and fought down the idea of the people having control over what the heck was going on with their own charter. Now, Wally's going to sum that up for us here, and this is available in case this skips or you say, oh, I don't like the focus. Get over it. But that's on this low bandwidth kind of thing that we're doing here. But you can see the full glory of the video separately posted right afterwards in its entirety, both halves all in one. So you don't have to sit there and watch that for half an hour. We played it to you in two 15-minute segments. All the math on that makes sense? I think it does. So, Mike, do you want to stop me from blathering? Yes, I do. And push the play button. Please do.
Yes, I do. And push the play button. Please do. Yes, I do. And push the play button. Please do. Yes, I do. And push the play button. Please do. Yes, I do. And push the play button. Please do. Yes, I do. And push the play button. Please do.
Please do.
He's asking the court whether not just this particular fee is lawful, but whether the whole approach to establishing fees is lawful in this declaratory judgment process. Anyway, so they put out the notice and summons. That involved being, it was certain, the court acknowledged that,
Drop
that
your lower
the notice and summons was served on all parties, meaning the public, in interest by publication of such notice for at least once a week for 3 successive weeks in the newspaper of general circulation published in Josephine County, Oregon. So then, apparently nobody replied. According to the court documents, it would seem that nobody responded to that or otherwise appeared in court or otherwise rendered anything official. I don't know if anyone did anything unofficial, but at least in terms of the court, from what the court saw, nothing happened. So he then got to, or the commissioners then got to move, this is a standard thing. If the other hand doesn't really clap, then the court, then if there is a controversy, but the other hand doesn't seem to, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to be interested in fighting it out, then the petitioner then does get to move for an order of entry of default. And that happened. So the board, through then counsel, on 31 August 2005, moved the court for a motion for entry of order of default. Now, remember I said that the caption in the case was in the matter of the petition of Jim Riddle, Dwight Ellis, Jim Raffenberg, right? Well, so nevertheless, getting back to this concept of the two hands clapping, and there must be a logistical controversy, there's another statute that comes to bear here in regards to declaratory judgments. And that is Oregon Revised Statute 28110, which says in part the following: in any proceeding which involves the validity of a municipal charter, ordinance, or franchise, the municipality affected shall be made a party and shall be entitled to be heard. And if the Constitution, statute, charter, ordinance, or franchise is alleged to be unconstitutional, the Attorney General of the state shall also be served with a copy of the proceeding. Forgetting that bit about the Attorney General, we're just going to reiterate the part about the party. So it says, in any proceeding which involves the validity of a municipal charter, ordinance, or franchise, the municipality affected shall be made a party. Well, we're talking about the county here. That's the municipality affected, is a party to the case. And this is touching on, I think, your question earlier on about who the parties were. So the motion for entry of order of default reads as follows. Petitioners hereby move the court for an order of default in the above entitled proceedings against Josephine County, a political subdivision, and all electors, freeholders, taxpayers, and other interested persons, whomever, who have not timely appeared to contest the above captioned proceeding by the filing of an answer to the petition or in any other matter whatsoever. So in that sense, the court was viewing the posture of this case as being the petitioners, meaning Riddle, Ellis, and Raffenberg, against Josephine County, all electors, freeholders, and taxpayers, and other interested persons. So you follow what I'm saying there?
The 3 commissioners were then going up against the county government and all the population?
No, going up against the county.
Well,
yeah.
The county government?
Well, the government is part of Josephine County, yes.
Right.
The government is part of Josephine County, yes.
So the commissioners are then opposing the county government and all of the citizens.
It doesn't say county government, but I can follow your rationale there, yeah. Electors, yeah. So,
really? They're on both sides of the argument.
This is an awkward thing, this kind of a case. So that's...
Now, Wally, we all know that there was then, even more than now, a very strong organization of citizens who were saying, hey, we don't like this kind of stuff. We're flexing our muscles. We're getting things done. And you might not know, but does it seem credible that all of those people go, oh, I think I need to take a nap. I'm not interested. Really?
I don't know, Dale. I do not know the history in that respect. I wondered about that, but the law is clear of what notice requires. See, from what I gather, somebody was contesting that fee. Somebody argued that the fee was counter to the charter. And by that, I mean the fee that kicked off this whole controversy, the fee for the public lands get that right.
What was the idea, that they were going to impose this fee
Public land
without
corner
taking it
preservation
to the
fund.
people? Because otherwise it looks like a setup. Sorry, but it does.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, it seems that based upon the affidavit, let me see if I can find, and this is really what I have to go on. I mean, it says, basically that it was a contested question involving political. It was a political controversy, basically, is what he says. I'm paraphrasing there, but basically it sounded like there was a political controversy that it sounded like there was somebody who was arguing that this public land preservation fee was not valid pursuant to the charter. And that's how this thing wound up being sought declaratory judgment.
We don't know who or why.
I don't.
Well, it's not beyond possibilities, not asking for you to speculate, that someone could have sort of said, you know, I hear you, commissioners or legal counsel or whoever, and so I'll file on this, even though it may be following the charter, you know, and that will lead to a court case. I mean, look at the results. It's pretty convenient. So what we have to believe then in this is that people who are getting what they asked for appeal something which puts the whole thing up in the air, and then they don't care enough to show up in court to challenge it. Really, that's quite a big risk. And it's irresponsible. Really? Everybody was irresponsible?
I know what's in here. That is what I know. I can say there is a copy of the notice at least. So, you know, and the judge was satisfied that the statutory requirements for notice will play out. How the whole thing got kicked off, I wonder about. The result, in any event, I don't. So, on 21 September 2005, Circuit Court Judge Alan Kuhn entered an order of default. And, you know, he does state it is hereby order on a judge, the Josephine County, a political subdivision, and all electors, freeholders, taxpayers, and other interested persons whomsoever are in default, and that the default is entered of record. So again, that's 1st September 2005. And then that was on 1st of September 2005. Then on 21 September, he filed the judgment of validation. This was from Judge Kuhn. He says, among other things, he says that the public land corner preservation fees are proper and valid, and that the Board of County Commissioners acted within its authority in so doing. He says no error, irregularity, or omission in the proceedings establishing the fees to be collected for the public land corner preservation fund affects substantive rights of the parties to this proceeding. And he states, finally, the Board of County Commissioners have judgment validating the actions of the board in creating the process to collect fees under the applicable statute, ORS 23148. Validating the process. So the court has so decided.
So then what was the result regarding the charter itself? The whole amendment was wiped out?
It was not. The whole amendment, from my reading, is still in force. But remember, the amendment states voter approval shall be required. In other words, the judge is saying the voters approve this. Because remember, it went back to the voters in the form of that ballot measure that basically the voters were asked, is it okay to establish a process by which the commissioners, through public hearings, can establish and raise fees?
Well, that's a little confusing because they establish fees all the time now, and I don't see any voters approving it.
Again, the legal argument is that the voters did approve this because the voters approved it. We'll return to this concept, this subject of measure 1773.
Right.
Okay, so the charter says voter approval shall be required. So then the voters considered measure 1773.
Which was only about corner preservation.
No.
I'm sorry, I got that wrong.
Yeah, that was the fee procedure.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was, yeah. And so, and it says in here, among other things, the county charter requires voter approval before any use fee, et cetera, et cetera. And then it says there's going to be a fee procedure. And so when you connect up this requirement of the charter for voter approval with this measure that the voters actually approved, the judge analyzed it and said, yes, the procedure is lawful.
So it sounds like what happened is that the public, somebody in the public, had an amendment that required every time the commissioners want to raise a fee.
Yes.
Or probably they put them all together, not, once a week, but every time they want to increase fees, that they would need to put it on the ballot so that people could say yes. And then somebody came up with the bright idea of saying, well, let's establish a procedure where that will essentially be nullified. And now we just have a procedure for doing it, and it's back in the hands of the commissioners.
It is, the procedure is the law of the land. That is the way that it's being.
It's back in the hands of the commissioners. It's not in the hands of the people any longer. According to that.
I mean, yeah. In terms of the routine establishment and
why would they do that? They had it in their hands and they gave it away?
I don't know, Dale, but that is what has occurred. And so the voters have spoken on the matter.
That seems like a mystery. Here they had all that power, and now they no longer do. And is it still in effect that it has to be justifiable, whatever the fee is? For example, when you gave us, Mike and I here, when you gave us this document of 33 pages, we're going to have to spend 25 cents per page.
Yes.
And a research fee to the office staff for not doing any research on this, basically. But it doesn't cost 25 cents a page to make copies anywhere in the universe, except, I don't know, Hong Kong or something. It doesn't cost that much. So doesn't it have to be justifiable? Isn't that even state law that if you're going to charge a fee, it has to be justifiable? That's not justifiable. I mean, even Staples, you go down there and you can get a deal for 5 or 6 pages. And they're a for-profit company. Not only do they have people working there and overhead and lights and all the rest of that, but then they have to establish a fee. They're not going to lose money on it. Even they're 5 or 6 cents a copy. And our cost for doing this is 25 cents every page. And the taxpayers buy the paper and the toner and pay the people their salaries. And in addition to that, it's now 25 cents. How can that be possible if it's based on actual cost?
Is it lawful or not? Is that what you're asking?
Well,
if the fee's too high, then I mean, you have your recourse, I suppose. But
well, yeah, but everybody knows we don't have 2 nickels to rub together. The populace doesn't. I mean, all they've got is the ballot, and then they try to do this thing saying, hey, let's be reasonable about this, and then suddenly it sort of all gets shunted off to the side twice. First, a bunch of people get together who knows who they were and then put it back in the hands of the commissioners. Well, you're best to decide these kinds of things. Yeah, well, we'll decide 25 cents. And then the whole thing is set aside because nobody cared to do anything about it. Some of this stretches credibility.
Whose?
Well, the idea that nobody would care enough to show up.
I never said that, did I?
Oh, brother.
I said I didn't know why no one showed up.
No. So let's suppose that, and appreciate this, let's suppose that people wish to say, look, we don't like something. If it's not today, it might be something tomorrow about fees, and we'd like to do something about it. Is the only alternative to bring another initiative, to have another initiative signed and bring it to the ballot again? You've often talked, let me put it another way, you've often talked about how there may be some things in the charter that need to be fixed or made more clear or more or closer to the intention of the original people or whatever. What's the remedy if one is needed in this particular case?
What are your options?
Okay.
I think that the law was changed by, in this case, just a vote of the people, a simple majority of the people. It was placed there, I think, well, it was placed there by the Board of Commissioners. And so either the board can put out a ballot measure.
Oh, the board put that out.
I think
That
so,
was
yeah.
not brought out by the people.
I think it was put out by, it says furnished by the Josephine County Board of Commissioners.
That's interesting. They put it on the ballot.
I think
And
that's
it
right.
costs them nothing to do that. They don't have to gather any signatures to do that.
I think that's accurate. Yes, I think that they did put that on the ballot. Yes. That is not, of course, the only way to get something on the ballot. Of course, as you've indicated, gathering signatures, filing a petition, that's another way of doing
It
it.
takes a lot of effort. That's how the amendment got passed. That amendment wasn't passed by Board of County Commissioners putting something on the ballot for free.
No amendment can be.
Right.
Okay. So
I guess there's a little black on the end of that. I got to tell you something. We got hoodwinked. We got hoodwinked in back in the 90s there when they passed that procedural thing. They probably said, "Oh, we just need a procedure in place. It's not going to lead to anything. Don't worry about nothing." Blah, blah, blah. And then, oh no, the procedure is, thank you very much. We get to start rubber stamping stuff again here.
it goes right back into the hands of the commissioners.
Right
I
back
don't
in.
think all those people who put that effort in and getting this thing on there, which we no longer have now, thank you
Yes.
very much, and all those people, they just took a long nap? I don't think so.
And by the way, if you're watching this broadcast and you were involved in that originally, the amendment of putting the thing on there, I'd be very interested to hear what you were thinking around the time when they put this thing on the ballot that basically took that back out of the people's hands and put it in their hands. I know that they didn't want it to, they wanted to be able to raise fees at will. And they didn't have that power because of they didn't have that power because of the charter. You know what's funny? When you're watching Wally and you ask him about it, he's like, huh? Well, because he's a lawyer, and he goes, well, this is all legal. And it was all legal. And there are a lot of things that are legal that aren't good. Now, I want to read the verbiage of that measure that took place that put the thing back in their hands, because I know darn well it wasn't clear and said, well, we don't really like this because we don't get to raise fees enough. So what we want to do is we want to take it out of your hands and put it back in our hands. What do you think? Is that okay?
So the commissioners vote among themselves to put this on the ballot without it coming from the people. And guess who gets to help write the definition, the explanation for you? Steve Rich, the guy that went to court afterwards to be sure that it got out of our hands. 20 years of this guy. This is why it's great that Wally is here.
No,
One other thing about Wally, when you're watching him, and you'll be able to see it better in the video that we're going to post after this, and you got to watch it through to the end because that's where the real action here takes place, but you need to watch the beginning so you understand what it's going up to. The looks he gives you every once in a while, like he gets this look on his face like, you're now getting it.
Right. I cannot tell you because I'm an attorney and we don't do things like that, but you're in the ballpark, so I'm not telling you you're wrong. So, yes, that's an interesting thing, but I'll tell you what, justifiable is a subjective thing.
Oh, yes.
And they have decided that 25 cents a copy and a $50 research fee or whatever is justifiable, or it's somehow warranted, or we don't make a profit on that. And yet over there at Staples, but wait a minute, Staples isn't paying their secretaries $50,000 a year either. So
hey,
we may be on to something.
Up to $200, Mike. $43 up to $200. That's perfectly understandable.
No, listen. Dale said earlier, something stinks. Something's out of control here. Now, I understand this is a bureaucratic nightmare, so unwinding it is going to be kind of like, every once in a while, my wife, because she crochets a lot, she'll hand me a ball of yarn and go, here, this is all messed up. Can you unwind this? And it's like, wow, how am I going to do this? And several hours later, I'm watching TV and taking this apart at the same time. I get to the end of it. That's what this mess is going to be like, because it's piles and piles and piles of bureaucratic double speak and legalese and
20 years of Steve Rich.
Yes.
Okay,
And
so
shenanigans like this thing.
yes, now that you've seen this show, and for the very first time for almost everybody, you understand that the commissioners put this on the ballot and that people who were vitally concerned with this just took a nap. Now that you know that, now you've got a lot more information in your hands about how we got into this place where we are, and we don't get to choose anymore. We used to, and now we don't. Now,
Well,
Mike and I have a solution to this.
This is
It's a
apathy.
solution that will take place in about a year, and that is what you have. Now, if you think this is totally wrong, then you're going to let us know. Here's the solution for this. You get a couple of commissioners in there, because there's 2 of them coming up for election now, and they have a similar point of view about this. They've got a view about the charter and following the charter. And when the judge says, I won't let you swear that you're going to follow the charter, you say, Judge, you know, just haul both of us off to jail immediately because I'm going to obey the charter. And what we would do would be, we would say, you know what? Yes, I know that this is what this ruling says.
But I don't care.
No, it's not that. No, not that. Not like Keith's saying, I know we're
I'm
breaking the law and I don't care.
but
Yeah.
I don't care.
No, what we would do is we'd say, oh, you have a bunch of fees that you'd like to raise? Well, first you have to justify them, and then we're going to take it before the people. But Steve Rich guaranteed that we wouldn't have to do that anymore. Yeah, but that's what the charter says.
Well,
the charter's been over. Yeah, but now
somebody
that we're
in
the
the
commissioners,
government-
let me just finish this thought.
Okay.
Now that we're the commissioners, we are saying that even though we can, we won't. But you got the law behind you. Yeah, but the law is against the people. And it's clear what the people want. So we're going to put it on the ballot. I don't get my fees raised. Maybe never, but you sure don't get them raised until the people vote. But they're going to say no. They're the boss.
Right.
Where did we lose track of this?
Well, you're going to have to deal with that measure that took place in the late 90s. You're gonna have to come head to head with that. You're gonna
that's
have
easy.
To
the commissioners put the measure on the ballot.
Right.
Put a new measure on the ballot.
That's right. That negates that one. I like it.
What you don't need anything more than 2 people
right.
in county government.
You could say, listen, we're putting this measure on the ballot because, in our opinion, the people got hoodwinked and they didn't understand what they were voting for in this last thing because it was put forth with subterfuge, and we are going to allow you to read it in plain language and make a decision. If you still want it to be that way, then fine, but understand you won't have any control over the over fees being raised.
And we go to Wally and we ask him to write exactly what Mike just said. You've been hoodwinked is the title of the thing, and here's how to solve it.
Yes. Right, exactly.
That's a little oversimplifying, but we take it back to the boss. You're the boss.
That's right.
Not these characters. You are the boss. And that's where Mark Goins went wrong at that church. Well, you should not disobey authority. If we're the authority, which we are, then government shouldn't be disobeying us. This is dead simple. You get 2 commissioners that agree with each other, and they go, this is far enough. The pendulum has swung far enough in one direction. Now it's going to start swinging back, and it's going to take a while. It starts swinging the other way. First off, first day, you say, the people are the boss. The people are the boss? Oh, no, says Dave Toller. I'm a highly paid executive. Not anymore.
Yes.
Not anymore, buddy. I'm looking forward to this.